welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have my granddad on the channel. This is Popsi, and we're going to be doing an interview. So, our first question on the interview is, how did your wife, Madeleine, how did you two first meet?
How did we meet? Now, I have a bit of a story. It takes a while, so just hold on. I come from a rather small village outside of Sudbury. And at the time, I was working in Elliott Lake, which is 2 hours drive from Sudbury. And every weekend, every odd weekend, whenever I had a weekend off, I would come home. Now, one weekend I come home and my two younger sisters rushed me, said, "Hey, fella, you should see the beautiful nun who is now teaching at our school. She's pretty. Wait till you see her." Well, I a bit taken aback, but yes, I'm anxious to see her. Now, it went a couple of times that I come home that I couldn't get to see her. I wasn't going to knock on the school and say I want to see this nun. But anyways, one time I come home and I remember we're in front of in the living room, and the girl starts hollering, "Here, she's coming down the road, she's coming down the road." Well, there was a church between us and the school, so she was walking over to church, I guess, and I saw her, and it was really the most beautiful nun I had ever seen. And I mentioned so to my mom, who was there, and Dad also. Mom said, "They don't you dare. That she belonged to Jesus." What did you have to do with that? I don't know what. Anyways, I had no intentions, but I did find her pretty. So I had occasion to see her, never to speak to her, but see her a few times after. And then years down the road, I left the mines where I was working and went and came to work in Ottawa. I eventually was a driving instructor in Ottawa. One day I'm at the Department of Transport, where I hung around a lot with some students, bringing them for their exams, their driving tests. I'm standing around waiting, and who do I see? Two nuns. One of them was Sœur Alain, that little nun from Mazilda. And she walked in through the back where they gave the temporary permit exams. And the other nun waited. So I went and saw the other nun and told her who I was and asked her about Sister Alain. She said, Yes, she's here to get her temporary permit for her driving permit. Okay. So we waited around until she came out, and she wasn't coming out. In the meantime, there was a driving instructor driving an examiner, Mr. Powell, who was there, and I had gotten to know him very well, who was one of the testers. He said, will she be taking lessons with you? I said, yes. I lied, but I thought it was a thing to say, yes. So he went out in the back and made sure she passed her tests. When she came out, I went to introduce myself. She said, oh yes, I heard about you through the girls. So Madeleine being what Madeleine is or was, she's very decisive. She said, you're going to give me my driving lessons. I said, I am. The thing is that we didn't have no contracts. Our driving school did not have contracts with that denomination. It was a different driving school altogether, but Madeleine didn't care. She took it in her own hands. So, yes, she made the arrangement at the convent, and I took her for her driving lessons. And after a couple lessons, she never told me. She never told me anything that she was leaving the convent. It was customary that we gave some of these nuns driving lessons because a lot of times they needed driving in missions. And maybe some other needs locally, but I know that mission work was mentioned, so I just took it for granted. That was the reason. But I got a feeling somehow after a couple of lessons. I came back and I told my boss, and a very good friend of mine. I said, you know that girl? Someday she'll come out, and I'm going to marry her. He called me a little bit nutty, but that's the way it turned out. He left the nunnery. We started going together. And I married her.
Yep.
And the story I even cut short.
All right. So the next question is, how have you gotten through hardships?
Now, even though I'm single now, I'm thinking about together when we were together. We went through hardships together. it was togetherness. We would hack it out, come to some conclusion, and do the best we could together. Together we found that, all through life, we found that together we were much stronger than alone. And I don't envy anyone who did not have that privilege. Because if there's hardship and you're together at facing it, much easier.
Yeah. Good answer. All right. Next question is, how have you dealt with loss?
Well, I've tried very hard to deal with loss. Of course, my biggest and latest loss is losing Ramadan. I've done a lot of meditation. Some call it prayers. That's for my mental and my soul well-being. Then I started doing much more lecture than I used to or had the time to do in the past. I've been doing a lot of reading. I've been looking at this tablet, which is very interesting. I can get news from across the world and you write up the news with it, and there's a lot of podcasts that are very interesting. Of course, there's a lot of junk on it, but you have to decipher it. What I find that very, very helpful, and I've tried to keep myself alive.
This lady has a good eye. It's Princess Elsa's
mentally, with a few friends that I have. I keep in touch with my friends and with my family as much as I can when I can. That's the best I know how to do it.
Yeah. Great. The next question is, what does healing mean to you?
Healing is a physical, emotional, it's a physical and emotional and mental improvement of my being. That's really all I can say on that.
All right. Who is someone who mentored you?
My father has passed away a long time now, and do you know that he still mentors me?
Yeah.
Because, well, first, let's describe who he was. He had very little formal education. And he would sort of laugh at it and say, oh, when we asked him, for his education. He said, well, I went to school 3 years and the teacher didn't show. He was funny in a way, he sort of dry humor, but a man with a lot of common sense. A man of few words, but when he spoke, it's as if he had studied that all his life. So I remember one time asked him a serious question. I had asked him questions prior to that, but this one here, he said, after thinking a bit, he said, did you ask your heart? What? Yeah. Did you ask your heart what to do? He said, sometimes, you know, your heart has the answer. He said, you've had good upbringing, and you have some living under your belt. So sometimes we should ask our heart, but also listen for the answer. That was his answer. And today, I do that sometimes. I ask my heart. So yeah, I think that's the whole answer.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Where do you feel most at home?
Well, presently, well, I think I've told this, you this before. I feel as good here as I would anywhere else in the same situation. But where I really am at home is when I am anywhere I am, or I have my grandchildren around me.
Yeah. Okay. If you could go back to any age, what age would it be and why?
That question makes me laugh. It's a light question. It's very interesting. But you know, I've had a nice life. I have had a good life. And but just being frivolous, I could go back to where I was about 30 years old. That's when the computer craze came out. With Microsoft and Apple and all these companies where the stocks could be bought for little money. And if I put all the money I had at the time, I I could have made my family easier,
Mm-hmm.
live easier, but that's just being frivolous.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the last question is, what do you want to pass on to future generations?
The world is but a blackboard for your imagination.
Mm.
So don't quit and have hope.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can pass on and wish to my children. Keep your head up, don't quit, and have hope.
Beautiful.
So the world is but a blackboard for your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
All right, that concludes our video.
C'est bon?
Yeah, thank you.
You just turn the light on,
Yeah.
just turn the light off.
All right, bye everyone.